Dur chat devam.
Job she was taking, you know, oh, that's not going to be good for her career, that's not going to be good for this, not going to be good for that, and then suddenly it's he has a problem with her taking any sort of job or any.
Bu arada bu kardeşi tam bir leş bir insan, konuşmasından belli.
It was another fight. He would often say things like, I don't even understand why she needs to work. I'll take care of her. I'll take care of you. I'll take care of everyone else. She doesn't need to work at all. It was one of those things that he was, at the end, vehemently against her working at all.
What, if any, observations did you make about Mr. Depp's treatment of Amber with respect to friends?
Again, these are all things that just very slowly over time just changed. You know, at first, you know, he was very inclusive of all of us. At one point, we all lived downtown together in these beautiful lofts. You know, at first that was part of the relationship, was getting to know him and him getting to know us. And then just, again, slowly over time, he took issue with Brandon at one point, and then Brandon wasn't allowed in the fold. Time went on, he had an issue with Io. Io wasn't allowed in the fold anymore. And then at some point, even me, he had accused me of doing something horrendous that I had never done. And then suddenly, I'm not allowed around anymore. And just over time, she had such a small network of people that were there to support her. It was hard to watch.
What, if any, observations did you make about Mr. Depp's attitude or treatment of Amber with respect to health, her health?
Amber was she was a pretty healthy person at first. She didn't have any medical issues that, you know, didn't need intervention of any sort. But in one of Johnny's attempts to get sober, he had employed Dr. Kipper, who had these nurses.
Geldim.
And he had a personal nurse that would like
Ben bu kardeşini hiç beğenmedim.
and, you know,
Ön yargım
the
oldu.
intention was to make sure that he stayed clean and
Objection, Your Honor. Calls for speculation.
Kemal yok.
Without discussing what
Sustain
the
the objection.
intentions were, just go ahead and give us what your observations were with respect to Mr. Depp, with respect to
Bu kardeşine bok
Amber's
atacağım.
health.
Sure. All of a sudden, for
Amber Heard'ın kardeşi bu.
really unclear reasons, Amber had her own personal nurse just administering medication, and from what I saw, it was strange. I didn't think Amber needed, you know, medication.
Amber
on
Heard'a
the daily or
medikasyon
whatever, and then all
veriyormuş.
of a sudden she
İlaç
has a
veriyormuş Johnny Depp.
therapist that is employed by Dr. Kipper. Even her medical treatment was somehow controlled by or paid for by Johnny.
Objection, Your Honor. Calls for speculation with respect to the control. Was to control, but paid for. I'll allow. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you. What, if anything, did Mr. Depp say about Amber's electronic devices?
Amber'ın elektronik cihazları
Well,
hakkında ne söyledi diyor.
Every time they fought or had an argument, one of
Ne zaman
a
kavga
device was going to
etseler
get smashed.
bir
And
cihaz
she
çöp
lost a
oluyor direkt
phone, a
diyor.
tablet, computer. You could
Telefon,
almost
tablet.
guarantee that something would get destroyed when they
İlla bir
fought.
şey yok oluyordu diyor.
Very often there were fights were at least in part surrounded by text messages or something that he would find on her phones or, you know, whatever. And at some point she wasn't even allowed to have passwords on her phone. Or if she did have a password, it was something really simple that he memorized. But there was zero expectation of privacy for her in terms of what was on her device or accessibility of her devices.
How many times did you observe Mr. Depp drunk?
Mr. Depp'i kaç kere alkol gördünüz?
Countless. I mean,
Çok gördüm
too
diyor.
many times for me to quantify.
How
Sayabileceğimden
many
çok daha
times did you
fazla.
observe Mr. Depp high on drugs?
Again, it would be
Allah,
really hard
şu
to put a
saat
number to that.
bitmedi.
It was a lot.
And what types of drugs did Mr. Depp use to your knowledge and your observation?
Size nasıl uyuşturucular
Well,
kullanıyor diyor.
I personally
Saatlerinde
I've
olarak
done
değil.
cocaine and drank with him on a number of occasions. So that he
Classic.
almost always had weed of some sort, marijuana, like, you know, joints
Weed
or
varmış,
whatever.
marijuana varmış, paso, sigara varmış, alkol
I have
varmış.
seen
Varmış
him
ustam her
take
şey.
MDMA
MDMA
on an
kullandığında, ekstezi
occasion,
kullandığında
shrooms
diyor,
as
diyor.
well.
Mantar kullandığında çok diyor.
I once saw him consume a bag, a Ziploc bag that had a bunch of just unknown pills, some
Random-
prescription, some not. He just took them
random
all at
reçete,
once to see
reçetesiz.
what would happen, and he laughed about it.
İlaçları
So I,
YouTube
those
ne
are
oluyor lan
what I
acaba
can
diye
recall.
denediğini de duydum diyor.
Now, you said that you also did cocaine with Mr. Depp, is that correct?
Johnny Depp'le kokain yaptığınızı
What, if any,
söyledi.
observations did you make as to what Mr. Depp carried in his pockets?
Johnny Depp'in ne taşıyordu cebinde diyor.
Well,
Bu arada bu
he
kardeş
always
tam
had,
böyle şey kardeş gibi
he always had
düşünüyorum.
cigarettes.
Hem
Rolling
Amber Heard'dan
papers.
hem Johnny Depp'ten
I'm
yıllarca
friends with
boyunca
cigarettes and tobacco
otlanıp
rolling
ondan
papers. He
sonra
always
iki
had
tarafa da bok
a
atan.
joint on him.
Bir
If he
tip.
was
Tam
in the
tip
face
o.
of using coke, he would carry
Hani
around a
sadece
little pill
şey
box
değil,
that had
Johnny
his
Depp'ten
cocaine
değil,
in it.
aynı zamanda Amber Heard'den de otlanıyor.
He always had a pocket knife, a lighter, and yeah, it's about what I can recall.
What, if
Evet,
any,
tam
behavior
sülük.
changes did you
Çok
observe
öyle hissettiriyor.
when Mr. Depp had been drinking alcohol or using drugs?
Like I said, it was, a completely different version, He was almost unrecognizable when he was drinking and
Alkol
using to an
işte,
excess.
alkol
If it
işte
was
veya çok fazla şey
alcohol and
kaçırdığında
coke,
durumu çok
he
farklı oluyordu.
He would slur, he would go on these paranoid, delusional rants
paranoyak
about things
oluyordu
that
direkt
didn't
diyor,
make any sense. He,
Ne öyle
you
diyor?
know, his
Saatindeki
speech
şey
would be
trigger
slurred. I
olmaya
almost
çalışıyor.
never knew
Ayakta dur
him to
olayına.
use cocaine without drinking. Those
Bugün
were
galiba
generally
kapatamayacağım onu.
combined.
No.
When he would smoke weed, he was much more relaxed. He was kind of what you would expect, happy on a couch,
saymadı
laughing.
işte.
But when he was drinking, he would just get
İnanılmaz.
very angry. And he would just say really nasty, unkind things. And it almost didn't, usually about Amber, sometimes about me, but it almost didn't matter if she was in the room or not. He would just say really horrible, horrible, horrible things about her or to her.
Kötü şeyler
Can
söyler.
you give the jury a few examples that you can recall?
Pardon my language, fucking cunt. He called her a fucking
Oldu.
used up trash bag.
Çöp
Slimy
diyordu.
whore, saggy whore. Just, fucking cunt was thrown out a bunch. Just horrible things like that.
Nasıl kötü şeyler söylüyor diyor.
I'm going to take you to March 21st, 2013. We've called it the painting or Keith Richards incident. When did you arrive at the Orange apartment on March 21st, 2013?
It was sometime in the afternoon. I came in and
Ne zaman bu bina?
was
Orange bu arada
typically a very
şeyin evi.
neat, clean place,
Amber Heard'ın
but,
evi.
as soon as I walked in,
Girdiğimden
there was a
beri
bunch of
Mart
smoke
2010
in the air. Remember,
Mart
there's-
2021
it
Mart
smelled like
21
cigarette smoke and there was
2013'te
smoke in the
bu
air.
Orange
Somebody
yani
had
Amber Heard'ın
smoked
evine
inside,
girmiş
which was odd
bir duman
because Amber
altı
and I
gibiydi
don't
diyor.
smoke, and Johnny used to always just go outside to smoke. But walking a little bit further in,
Normalde
there was, like,
burada duman
furniture
olmuyordu çünkü
askew.
John her zaman dışarı çıkardı
Going
içmek
into
için
the
diyor.
kitchen, there was, Johnny was sat at our little breakfast nook table that we had there. And he was wearing glasses. He
Gözlük takıyordu diyor.
there was cocaine in front of him. There was booze in front of him.
Bunda kokain
Journal,
vardı,
like notes,
alkol
newspaper,
vardı.
things like that, just kind of scattered around at the table. And I sat down to talk to him to see what was going on.
Onunla konuşmak için oturduğumda
And
işte
it
oturdum
was really
diyor.
hard to understand what he was getting at. It was really clear that he had been drinking for some time. His speech was slurred, and again, it was really hard to follow what he was trying to tell me. At first, he seemed to be
Böyle
upset.
ne dediğini
that,
anlayamıyordum
my
bile
sister
diyor. Takip etmek çok
photographed
zordu.
her friend Marie in France. He then started saying that it must have meant that she was having an affair with her. And,
Amber
everyone
Heard
would be laughing
bir tane
at
kız
her,
arkadaşı Mary ile Fransa'da fotoğrafı çekilmiş. John
this
Depp
woman,
de
her father was a French
bununla
politician, so he then
aldatıyor
starts
falan.
rambling on about, he knows what her father's up to and her this, that, and the other. And again, it was just this strange paranoid tailspin. Is the only way I can describe
Aldattığını
it. That just-
söylemiş,
it wasn't true. My sister wasn't
paranoyaya
having an affair
girmiş.
with this person.
Aynı zamanda
Objection,
işte
Your
bu
Honor. I think it's pretty non-responsive at this point.
All right, next question. Sustain the objection.
Please describe what your conversations were and your observations were with Mr. Depp.
objection olayını anlatmayacağım. Ablanız madde geçişi var. Var.
So,
John Depp'le bol bol
as I'm sitting there talking to
kokain
him,
yapıyorlarmış.
Amber is in the kitchen, and she's not sat at the table or anything. She's kind of hanging back, and Johnny's still talking to me about what the problem was. And then all of a sudden, the focus shifts to this painting that has been on the wall ever since Amber and I moved in. And the painting was done by one of my sister's exes. So he was convinced that it was on the wall.
Bir tane resim vardı ya. Bir tane resim vardı ya şeyin Amber Heard'ün evindeki. Eski sevgilisinin, eski karısının, Amber Heard'ın eski karısının çizdiği bir tane resim var. Bir portre var. Johnny Depp o portreyi çok takmış. O portrenin hala orada olmasının Amber Heard'ın onu sırf kızdırmak için hani aldattığını kanıtı olarak orada görüyormuş.
Filming this documentary that was being shot at one of his houses.
Was that with Keith Richards?
Correct.
Okay.
That was my understanding of it.
Please continue.
So for hours we sat there. I was trying to, talk to him, make him feel like everything was okay, just try to get him out of the house.
Tanıklarda hazırlanıyor
His
avukatlar,
assistant
tabii.
kept coming in and out at one point. And all the while, Amber is just in the kitchen. She's
Amber
like giving us space, but
şeydeymiş.
she's in earshot, and he's saying these things about her. And at one point, she tries to come over to like check on him, and she kind of embraces him from behind, and he's just like, fuck off, and continues to say these things about her. And again, we sat there forever, and eventually we did get him to leave the house. So but he insisted that Amber come too, and that if they were gonna work
Dışarıda
it out,
çamaşırım
she'd
vardı.
have to be there and talk about it at some other point, I guess.
Let me just stop you for a minute. What, if any, injuries did you observe on Amber at that time?
At the time, it was before I had a real understanding of what was going on. It was pretty, I didn't know, frankly. And her face was swollen, but I didn't, and it was kind of red. I thought she had just been crying. And her lip did appear to be cut, but again, that at the time, that wasn't what we were trying to do. It wouldn't have been appropriate to, talk to her about it or anything. That wasn't my focus, frankly. My focus was just sitting there trying to figure out what he was upset about and get him out of the house.
So how long were you at Orange with Mr. Depp and Amber before he left to go to the Keith Richards?
A few hours. I couldn't say, maybe around like 4 or 5 hours.
Okay.
It took a minute.
Now, did you accompany Mr. Depp over to the recording, or did you stay?
I did.
And did Amber go too?
Correct. That was part of the condition of him leaving, is that Amber had to go with us.
All right. Well, please describe to the jury what happened next then on your ride over there.
So Amber and Johnny were sitting in the back. I was in the front with Sterling, the driver, and they weren't saying much back there. There was music playing pretty loudly, so I couldn't really hear what was going on back there. But at some point I heard the back door open, or the back window open, and Johnny is holding our dog out the window. And I froze. I was scared because I just remember thinking, I knew how inebriated he was, and the dog was very small. I thought if she twitched or, if he lost her somehow, she was just going to go out the window. And Amber, of course, was just saying,
Objection, Your Honor.
Not often to prove the truth of the matter asserted, Your Honor.
I'll sustain the objection. Next.
Okay. Don't say what Amber said. Just go ahead and continue with your observations.
He brought the dog back into the car, and he was just laughing, this really scary, loud, like it was almost like a cackle. And he then made some joke about putting her in the microwave. And that was the joke after that, was putting the dog in the microwave.
Okay. So during the year 2013, what, if any, marks did you observe on Amber? Any injuries or signs of markings, anything like that?
Occasionally I'd see bruising, cut lips, split lips, weird marks, burns, or I don't know, on her arm, scratches on her arm, things like that. It was just weird, and it was periodic. It wasn't like a constant thing, but there were injuries to her.
And what, if anything, did you do? Did you ask her about them?
I did at some point confront her and ask her, and she...
Objection, Your Honor. Hearsay.
Don't tell
Sustain
us.
the objection.
Okay.
Next question.
Okay. But you did ask her about them?
Yes.
that-
Objection,
okay.
Your Honor, same objection. Next question?
That's
fine.
That's, okay,
Over-
thank you, Your Honor. All right, I'm going to take you to June 2013, Hicksville. Were you in attendance at that event with Mr. Depp and Amber?
Yes.
Please describe for the jury what you can recall from that event.
So Hicksville is like this, it's this like collection of themed Airstreams. It's like a little, it's in the middle of the desert. It's just like a fun little place to go. So we went with a group of our friends. And yeah, so each one of us had our own little Airstream or whatever. So my partner and I at the time, we got there last. So as we're going around checking out the different Airstreams, because again, each one of them had a different theme, so it was kind of fun to see, you know, who was staying in which theme or whatever. I open Amber and Johnny's, and there's cocaine on the table. And I didn't really think much of it at the time. I was just like, all right, fine, we're all here to have fun. And that night, you know, we sat
İnanır
around the
mısınız?
campfire.
Çamaşırlarım bir daha yıkanmış.
Everyone was drinking. Some people were taking shrooms, you know. And then I drank too much, and I went to bed early before everyone else. And then the next day, you know, when everyone was cleaning up,
Camille nerede?
I'd heard about
Şeye
something
gitmiş
that
arkadaşlar.
happened the
Masaja
night
gitmiş.
before.
Bütün davayı sırtına
And,
taşımak için
an altercation
taşımaktan
that-
yorulmuş.
Objection, Your Honor, hearsay.
Don't
Masaja
tell us
gitmiş
what
o
you
yüzden.
heard. Go ahead and just tell the jury what you observed.
Kester Aksuçuk bu da abone oldu şimdi 16.
observed
canımsın. En iyi
people
haber Amsterdam hoş
cleaning
geldin.
up after
Tanık
what appeared
tanık
to be
Amber
just
Heard'un
a night
kardeşi
of
Whitney
friends hanging out.
Amber.
I then went to my sister's trailer, where she was staying with Johnny, and it looked like a bomb went off in there. There was broken things, things had been skewed. It just looked incredibly messy. It looked like somebody had ransacked it.
Birisi buraya parçalamış gibiydi, bomba atılmış
That's
gibiydi
what I
falan diyor.
observed.
Okay.
O da ama o da
I'm
bilmiyorum
going
yani.
to take you to September 2013. What if anything
Eylül
did you
2013'e
do with
gidiyoruz.
Mr. Depp relating to going to London?
Londra'ya gittin. Ne oldu o olayda diyor.
So September 2013, that was around the time of my birthday.
Doğum günüm
Amber was
zamanıydı.
filming in
Amber
London.
Londra'da bir film
and,
çekiyordu. Hani beraber gitmişler diye
she
bir
wasn't
arkadaş
able to
falan da
make it back
vardı.
for my birthday, and it was also
Doğum
a
için
friend of ours,
gelmeyecekti.
Io, also has
Io'nun
a birthday the same time,
da doğum günüydü,
or around the same
diyor.
time as me. And Johnny thought it would be great to load up and surprise Amber
Johnny
on set.
Amber'a
He thought she'd really
sürpriz
enjoy it,
etmenin
and
hoş olacağını
so
düşünmüştü.
that's what we did. We
O
loaded
yüzden
up,
topluca
we went on a
binmişler,
plane,
uçağa binmişler.
chartered, and I believe my father was with us as well.
Die Leuten,
And,
die Leuten
yeah,
der
Johnny and I
Schreck nicht verçut. Bu da onun
Drank
için
and did a
16.
lot of
yaşın
cocaine on that
canımsın.
plane,
En iyi haber
and
Amsterdam hoş
I
geldin.
ended up passing out, but we get to London, and you know, we had it was
Babası
wonderful
da
to see
varmış bu arada
and,
Amber Heard'ın.
we had a
Uçakta
dinner
kokain
that night
yapmışlar.
at the
Ondan
hotel
sonra da
that we were
bayılmış.
staying at, or it was either that night or the next night. I can't remember exactly, but
Baba da yani
at
babanın
one
önünde
point,
kokain maşallah.
Johnny picked up a steak knife and he hurled it at his assistant. It missed him, but
Johnny
obviously
asistanına
Ethan got upset and he
et
left,
bıçağı alıp
and he
fırlatmış.
was upset
Asistanı
as well.
sinirlenmiş. Johnny de sinirlenmiş.
And a fight broke out between Amber and Johnny that
Amber ve
night.
Johnny arasında bir kavga
I
başlamış.
didn't witness it. I
Asıl
wasn't
bu
there.
bu arada.
I knew
Bu
that
ablayı
Lack of foundation. All right, I'll sustain the objection.
Okay,
Next
so,
question.
so you can't tell us about it if you
bu
weren't
arada
there. So
net bir şekilde hayvan gibi şey kullanacaklar. Bu abla bütün her şeyi abarttıkları her şeyi kanıtlayacak. Kanıtlayacak dediğimde hani destek çıkacak. Amber'ın yani mesela Amber kontrolü kaybediyor, çok şiddet yanlısı falan. Bu abladan paso şey diyeceğiz. Johnny sağa sola bıçak fırlatıyor, kuduruyor bilmem ne falan. Net bir şekilde bu kadından duyacağız.
when did they get engaged?
Yani evet full bu kadından böyle şeyler duyacağız bu arada söyleyeyim şimdiden. Londra'ya gittim ama indiğimde çoktan şeydi nişanlanmışlardı diyor.
The 2014 Hollywood Film Awards. What, if any, involvement did you have with Mr. Depp relating to the Hollywood Film Awards?
I was called over to where he was getting ready, 80.
And when you say 80, are we talking about Sweetser?
Yes, that's one of the houses that is on that street that Johnny had. He had several houses on that street. 80 was the one
Bunun
that,
krosu
he referred
çok
to as,
feci
like,
olacak
man cave.
bence.
That's where he spent a lot of time. So I was summoned to 80, again, following a fight that he and my sister were having, and
Objection, Your Honor. Lack of foundation.
I,
Just go on, just don't talk about what you weren't party to. You got
Okay,
there,
yes.
please tell the
Sustain the
jury,
objection, go ahead.
okay, please tell the jury what you observed, what happened
Sure.
when you were there.
Akdeniz Fokus bu arada ikinci
when I got
yarımsın.
there,
En iyi haberim sana hoş
Johnny
geldin.
was,
Vardığımda
was outside.
Johnny
He was very
dışarıdaydı.
drunk already,
Çok
and he was continuing to
alkollüydü
drink.
zaten. İçmeye de devam ediyor diyor.
He was, again, rambling about my sister having affairs with people that it just wasn't true, and just kept saying things.
Kardeşimin pası onu aldattığını söylüyordu. Çalışması gerektiğini söylemedi. Neden çalıştığını şey yapıyordu. Ona karşılık ona cevap olsun diye sırf insanlara tanışmak için iş çalıştığını falan söylüyordu diyor. Amber'ın kardeşi, evet. Herkes onu evden çıkarmaya çalışıyordu. Zaten bunu çok geç kalmıştı buna diyor. Sonra evi terk ettirmişler Johnny'ye. Sonra ödül törenini gördüm diyor. Ödül törenine sonra ne gördüm diyor. Orada hala alkolikti diyor. Hatta daha gördüğümden daha fazla alkolikti diyor. O zaten konuşurken hala içiyordu diyor. Zaten alkollüyken nasıl olduğunu biliyorum Johnny'nin diyor. Yani alkollü olduğunu nasıl olduğunu bildiğim için böyle diyorum diyor. 2015'e geldik. Penthouse'da mı yaşıyorsun diye. Evet, 2015'te 23 Mart 2015'te Penthouse'da yaşıyorlarmış. Bütün aile yemin ediyorum Penthouse'u ele geçirmişler.
I actually don't know for sure when I moved in. I would take me a minute to remember. It was sometime in 2000. I don't know, 14, I think.
Okay. And so as of March 23rd, 2015, you're living there, correct?
Orada yaşıyordun değil mi
Yes.
diyor.
And where,
2014'te
where are you living?
2014'te taşınmışlar bu arada. Hangi Penthouse'da
So
yaşıyordunuz?
I was in what they call PH4.
Üçüncüsünde yaşıyorlarmış. Dördüncüsünde yaşıyormuş. Penthouse dördüncü. En üst kat, bütün en üst katın, bu apartmanın en üst katını Johnny almış. 5 kat, 5 tane şey varmış. Amber'la Johnny Penthouse 3'teymiş. Isaac 2'deymiş. Rocky ve Josh da 1'deymiş. Bağlı olanlar 3, 4 ve 5'miş. Johnny
basically closet. So basically you had to cut through to get to one point to the other. So I was sleeping. I woke up to
Uyuyordum diyor.
Amber in my bedroom saying, "Can you believe he's cheating on me?"
Objection, Your Honor.
Amber gelmiş.
Thank you. Please continue.
Amber gelmiş beni beni aldattığına inanıyor musun? İnanabiliyor musun demiş.
It's okay for you to say what.
Oh, sorry.
Just briefly what you just explained.
I woke up to her saying, "Can you believe he's cheating on me? Your fucking brother is cheating on me."
Johnny Depp.
I told her to stay right there.
Objection, Your Honor. Hearsay.
It's not offered to prove the truth of the matter
That's
asserted.
overruled for that statement, go ahead.
Please continue.
I instructed her to stay in my apartment
Benim
while I
apartmanda
go
kal demiş.
and talk to Johnny.
Johnny ile konuşmak için şey
So
yapmış.
I leave PH4. I leave her in PH4.
And let me just stop. Are you sober, drunk? Have you been drinking?
Alkol kullandın mı, şey
rare
yaptın mı
occasions where I
filan
was
diyor.
sober. I was in the middle of the night. I was asleep.
So I'm sorry, I'm not sure that I understood your question. So you were sober?
Oh, absolutely.
Ayık mıydın
Yes.
diyor. Evet,
Yes.
ayıktım diyor.
Please continue.
So I go to PH5 where Johnny, Debbie and Travis
Johnny,
were all
Debbie ve
standing in the
Travis
kitchen,
mutfakta dururken
PH5.
şey yaptım, geldim
I was
diyor.
down there to talk to him.
Onunla
And again,
konuşmak için
I
geldim diyor.
can tell he's clearly drunk. And he has a
Alkol
bottle of,
çok fazla içtiğini zaten
alcohol
anlıyordum
of some
diyor.
sort in front of him him as well.
Bir alkol var zaten
And
önünde diyor.
again, he's talking to me
Travis
about
olayı. Oh no.
how
Konser verecek.
how Amber found these text messages between him and a woman,
Amber onunla Rachel diye bir kızla mesajlaşma bulmuş. Özel bir şey değilmiş. Amber bana beni zorladı diyor. Tabii ki de onu ağlatıyorum falan demiş.
At some point, then Amber is on the mezzanine level of PH5, so she is. It's kind of hard to explain. So the kitchen's down here, and the mezzanine.
Amber
is up
tarafından
here.
zaten Amber Heard'ın
So
kardeşi
she's
tabii ki
there,
de.
It's her little office nook, and she starts shouting at him, saying, you know,
Objection, Your Honor, hearsay.
It's not offered to prove the truth of the matter asserted, Your Honor. She's screaming expletives at him. I mean, that's not offered
All
to
right,
prove the truth.
overruled.
Thank you.
Bu yeni ablam
they're saying horrible things
yapamıyor.
to one
Johnny Depp'in
another.
yeni
Fuck you.
overrule diyen
You know, he's calling her a
ablam
fucking
yapamıyor bu
whore,
arada.
fucking cunt, used up trash bag, you know, whatever. They were saying horrible things to one another.
Johnny Depp
She was calling
birbirlerine,
them
Johnny Depp ve
all
Emre
bad.
iki paso birbirlerine
They were saying really nasty things
laf
to
çakıyormuş.
one
İkisi de
another.
birbirine küfür ediyormuş
I
filan
leave them
bu
in the kitchen
kavgada.
to go up the stairs. Was trying to calm Amber down, hopefully get her back
Amber'ı
into my apartment.
durdurmak,
And
sakinleştirmek için uzaklaştım
Debbie
diyor.
had come up with me.
Debbie de bununla beraber gelmiş. Debbie
Debbie
kim
was
diyor.
his nurse at the
Debbie Johnny
yes, I
Depp'in
believe that.
şeymiş.
So we're with Amber on the
ismi
mezzanine
nedir?
level.
I'm sorry, just
Hemşiresi.
so we know who we're is. Is it you and Debbie that are with Amber, or is it?
Yes, Debbie, Amber, and I are all in the little mezzanine area.
Patates kutusu çok çabalı üçüncü için canımsın. En iyi haber abim, hoş geldin.
Overlooks the kitchen and the living room. So Johnny then hurls a Red Bull can and it hits Debbie in the back. She
Bir
didn't
Red Bull
react. She
kutusu
didn't
atmış
really
ve Debbie'nin
notice.
kafasına gelmiş. Fark etmemiş ama Debbie bunu. Şimdi Red Bull kutusu atsam ve vursa ensesine fark eder gibi düşünüyorum.
And that's when Johnny runs up the stairs.
Sonra
And
merdivenlerden yukarı
I-
koşmuş Johnny.
again, I'm facing Amber. He comes
Amber
up
tarafına
behind
bakıyordu.
me,
Arkama
strikes
geldi
me
diyor.
in the back,
Sırtına
kind of just somewhere over here. He strikes me in the
Sırtına
back. I hear
vurmuş
Amber
bu
shout, "Don't
kadının.
hit my fucking sister."
Amber
She
bağırmış.
smacks him, lands one, and then
Amber
he
bağırmış kardeşime
grabs-
vurma
at
diye.
that point,
Ondan
that's when
sonra
Travis runs up
vurmuş,
the stairs
şeye vurmuş
after
direkt.
Amber landed one.
Amber bir tane geçirmiş
And-
Johnny'ye
but by that
vurmuş.
time,
Ondan sonra
Johnny
Travis yukarıya koşmuş.
grabbed Amber by the hair.
Johnny ama
One
o zamana
hand was
kadar
whacking her repeatedly in the face with the other. As I was standing
çoktan
there.
yakalamış
Travis
Amber Heard'ı,
pulled
saçını
them
tutuyormuş,
apart. I get
vuruyormuş
Amber into
Amber'a.
mine. I closed the doors behind me and locked them.
Ben de kapıyı
Then
kapadım filan
hear
diyor.
Johnny's voice
Sonra Johnny'nin
shouting.
sesini duyuyorum.
Never mind, withdraw. Okay, sorry.
I hear Johnny's voice
Bu
shouting.
arada Travis ve Debbie de böyle bir şey olmadığını söyledi. İçeride bir şeylerin kırılmalarını duydum, şeylerin parçalandığını duydum filan diyor. Amber'ı bir sonraki odaya taşıdım diyor. Orada tuttum bütün gece diyor. Bütün o kıyafet dolabı yok olduğunu gördüm diyor. Debbie kardeşi değil, hayır. Debbie, Johnny Depp'in hemşiresi.
Michelle, can you bring up Defendant's Exhibit 400? Whitney, do you recognize this text?
Bu SMS'i hatırlıyor musun diyor.
Okay, and it's on March 23, 2015 at 6:57. Is that correct?
Anlatıyor Whitney rol 10. için canımsın. En iyi haberlerimize hoş geldin.
Identify it, please.
Uyduruyor gibi geldi. Ya zaten şöyle bir şey var. Şimdi iki taraf var burada. Bir işte bu taraf hani Johnny Depp Debbie'nin suratına Red Bull attı. Debbie'nin sırtına Red Bull attı. Ondan sonra sinirlendi. Merdivenden yukarı tırmandı. Kardeşine vurdu. Kardeşine vurduktan sonra Amber sinirlendi. Yumruk attı. Johnny ondan sonra Amber'ı saçından tutup yumruk attı. Ondan sonra bodyguard geldi ayırdı diyor. Johnny Depp'in tanıkları da böyle bir şey olmadı. Red Bull atılmadı. Debbie'nin kendisi de, hemşirenin kendisi de bana bir Red Bull atılmadı dedi. Ondan sonra da hayır, Amber Heard tarafı yumruk attı. Zaten ayıran bendim. Kardeşi de orada değildi diyor. Kardeşi de yakında değildi diyor. Ortada duran bendim diyor güvenlik görevlisi de. Yani iki tarafta farklı birbiriyle çelişen, tamamen zıt olan iki tane açıklama var. O da zaten şey kanıtlayacak. Hani jüri istediğini seçecek. Çok korkunç, nasıl doğruyu bulacaklar. Doğruyu bulma üzerine değil artık ya. Yani olay tamamen bu noktadan sonra hangi taraf daha inandırıcı noktasındayız biz. Şey geçtik yani çoktan. En çok yalan söyleyen kısım Amber tarafı. Ya şöyle, Amber Heard tarafının net bir şekilde abarttığını biliyoruz. Ve yani şöyle bir de hani şu yüzden yalan söylediğini de biliyoruz. Hani hangi düzeyde olduğunu bilmiyoruz ama mesela özellikle para konusu çok batan bir konu. Jüriye de çok batacak. Çünkü para konusunda hiç parayı ilgilenmedim, bilmem ne, paramda değildi dedikten sonra 11 ay boyunca 7 milyonun hepsine sahip olup hiçbir kuruş bile kendin yatırmayınca o çok göze batıyor. İnanılmaz göze batıyor. Yani az bu süre değil.
So this is,
Tabii Depp'te sütten çıkmış ak kaşık değil abi. Depp'te ikisi de ultra toksik, ikisi de leş insanlar. Ama şu noktada işte hangisi daha fazla yalan söylüyor noktasındayız.
Okay, and that's to Kevin. Who's Kevin?
Kevin neymiş bu?
He was Johnny's estate
Kevin
manager.
bu şey emlak şeymiş, menajeriymiş.
Stop at the first one. Can you please describe to the jury what this is?
That is one of Amber's clothing racks.
Amber'ın kıyafet dolaplarından birisiymiş. Dolapları, kıyafet dolapları arkadaşlar.
Okay.
Bu fotoğrafı sen mi çektin? Evet, ben çektim diyor. Davanın kazancı nedir? 50 milyon dolar. İyi para. Gerçi 50 milyon değil büyük ihtimalle de. Kıyafetleri filan yerde, ayakkabıları yerde, zaten fark edebilirsiniz diyor.
And we're up to the next one. Could you please describe what the next picture depicts?
Visti çok Şubat 9. yaşın canımsın. En iyi abonemsem hoş geldin. Tabii Johnny Depp için elinden sonra bu dava ismini temizleme davası. Para değil yani. Ya para da tabii büyük bir artıdır ama Johnny Depp'in davayı zaten bu tür şekilde açmasının, davayı bu bölgede açmasının, bu eyalette açmasının falan hepsinin temel nedeni halk gözünde ismini temizlemek. Ki başardı. Yani dava hangi tarafa sonuçlanırsa olsun Johnny Depp şu noktada davayı halk göz önünde kazandı. Ya o bitti çoktan. Biriksin hemen abone ol.
Just more clothing racks that have been taken down, moved.
Bu kıyafetlermiş, yıkılmış filan. Ya şimdi yıkılmış dediğim şey de yani tutup yukarıya kaldırsam yani bu ya tabii evet bir şiddet ama yani çok küçük bir şey yani birisini tutup şöyle yapmasan birisi tutup böyle yaptığında düzelir yani evet dümdüz kaldırırsın ya bu bilmiyorum. Bu mu yıkılmış şey yani?
Okay, and if we go up, and the top one there looks like part of what was earlier. Let's go to the bottom one. I think we have a bigger picture there. Does that help with what's depicted there?
I still can't tell what it was. Maybe a plate of some sort. But there's
Bir kırık bir şey var. Bu ne diyor diyorsun?
Cigarette, a couple bottles of water. But yeah, whatever that blue thing is, it was broken. It's what's all over the kitchen there, and also next to the stove.
Okay. Thank you. After the staircase incident,
bu merdiven olayından sonra
what, if anything, did Mr. Depp ask you to sign?
Mr. Depp sizden bir şey imzalamamızı istedim diyor. Bir gizlilik sözleşmesi imzalattı mı diyor.
It's a non-disclosure agreement. It's basically my understanding is it's a contract to keep things private, to keep your mouth shut, essentially.
Konuşturmamak için bir
You were given one or asked to sign one?
I was asked to sign one.
Sözleşme diyor.
I don't believe I signed it.
Sözlediğim
I left
söz,
sometime after.
söz imzaladım hatırlamıyorum diyor.
It was, yes,
İlk senin çok Şubat ikinci için canımsın. En iyi haber Emsam hoş geldin. Demeri 18. ay çok çabuk canımız hoş geldin. Bu olaydan sonra da ayrılmış. Orada yaşamayı bırakmış. Johnny şeyi suçlamış. Şey diye suçlamış Johnny Depp. Bu hikayeleri medyaya satmakla suçlamış. Amber geri döndü. Şubat 2016'da mesaj atmış. Tek kardeşi diye. Şubat'tan sonra beraber yaşadınız mı diyor. Evet, 2 Şubat 2016'dan sonra biraz onunla beraber yaşadım diyor. 21 Nisan 2016'da Amber'ın 30. yıl doğum günü vardı. Beraber evlendiniz diyor. Evet diyor.
It was her 30th birthday, so we wanted to make it, excuse me, really special.
Özel bir şey yapmak istedik.
We had made this beautiful dinner.
Güzel bir yemek yaptık.
You know, and it was great. All of her close friends were there.
Bütün yakın arkadaşları oradaydı diyor.
Everyone was having a really good time.
Güzel bir zaman geçiriyordu. Herkes mutluydu.
You know, Johnny showed up very, very late.
Johnny çok geç gelmiş.
And he was drunk when he showed up.
Alkollüydü tabii geldiğinde.
Amber was obviously upset about it, but
Amber üzgün tabii bu olay hakkında diyor.
Time in the party where we all went around the table and said our favorite thing about Amber.
Amber hakkındaki en sevdiğim şeyleri söyledik. Güzel anları veya herhangi bir şeyler falan diyor.
When it came to Johnny's turn,
Johnny'nin zamanı gelince
told this story about how they first met.
İlk tanıştıkları
They met for the Rum Diary. So, you know, he had this story about how she came in to his office and she sat on the couch and her perfect ass left a perfect imprint on the couch, and he wouldn't let anyone sit there after she left that day.
Diyor ki ofisime geldi, Amber Heard ofisime geldi. O mükemmel bir götü vardı, çok güzel oturdu. O koltuğa başka kimseye oturtmadım filan demiş Johnny Depp. Böyle bir hikaye anlatmış. Götünü anlatmış Amber Heard'ın doğum gününde. Herkes utanmış.
When did you leave the party that night?
I left pretty shortly after that.
Partide ne zaman şey yaptım? Bu olaydan sonra hemen ayrıldım diyor. Coachella'ya gelip gelmeyeceğini söyledim mi, öğrendim mi Johnny Depp'in planlarını? Evet öğrendim, gelmeyi planlıyordu dedi. Evet geleceğini, bir sonraki gün geleceğini söylemişti bize dedi. Geldim Coachella'ya, sonraki gün hayır gelmedi diyor.
I'm going to jump forward to talk about some statements that were made, the counterclaim. What, if any, observations did you make about how the statements, we're talking about the 3 statements from that we're quoting Adam Waldman, impacted Amber? And I'm asking for your observations. Just tell the jury what your observations were.
Adam Waldman olayı, bu yazar vardı ya, Adam Waldman'ın yazdığı
Compound, lack of foundation, speculation.
Üçlü.
Thank you.
Adam Waldman'ın yazdığı yazılar Amber'ı nasıl etkiledi diyor. Togur çok bir senedir abone oluşun canımsın. En iyi haber Emsam hoş geldin. Amber yaşadığı bütün ilişki boyunca yaşadığı şeyleri atlatmak için çok zorladı. Yani bu olayı arkasına bırakmak için çok çabaladı diyor. Amber'ı bilen herkes en önemli şeylerden birisi Amber için dürüstlük ve dürüstlüktür diyor. Yani hayvan gibi parası veya özel adıları falan yok diyor. Yıkılmıştı bunları duyduktan sonra, dürüstlük aynen yatağa sıçma dürüstlüğü.
It devastated her, and also we had just buried our mother. You know, so Amber, she started having panic attacks randomly. She was not.
Random panik ataklar falan yaşamaya başlamış.
These are your observations. Thank you. Please continue.
These statements devastated her. They devastated her because they weren't true, and they were just very, very, very much affecting her.
And you talked about panic attacks. What else did you observe that she would do as
Aa, Ikea'daki
a physical?
sınırsız içecek bölümü kapatmışlar.
She would just like
Millet eliyle elini
breaking
dayayıp
into
içiyormuş
tears.
çünkü.
I don't know how else to describe it. She was
Oğlum biz
she was
cidden
so unwell.
bazen
She
bazı
stopped
şeyleri hak
sleeping
etmiyoruz
again.
abi.
She was super anxious. She couldn't relax. She couldn't sit still. It was very similar to the Amber that I
Ulan
had
bari
seen
şişe götürüyor
back in
ya.
2016 as she was trying to get out of this relationship. It launched her back into this space where she was just so physically unwell, and she cried a lot.
Türk olduklarını biliyoruz. Arkadaşlar yani ben kendi halkımı tanırım. Yani elinde sonunda biz çok bu tür şeyleri yapıyoruz. Biz de çok abuzluyoruz. Hani o konuda hiç ittiremezsiniz.
Good afternoon, Ms. Enriquez.
Yani ne kadar zorlanabilecek çizgi varsa zorluyoruz biz de.
I'm one of the lawyers representing Mr. Depp in this case.
Aa şey kısmı
You grew
geldi.
up in Texas with your sister and your parents, right?
Texas'ta kardeşinizle beraber büyüdünüz değil mi?
And you
Cross
were really
examination
close
geldi.
with Ms. Heard growing up,
We were.
and you're still close now, right?
Çok yakınınız değil
We
mi?
are.
Evet şu anda çok yakınız.
And you love her.
Onu çok seviyorsunuz
Of course.
evet.
And your childhood, though, had some difficult moments, right?
Çocukluğunuzda zor zamanlar
It
yaşadınız değil
wasn't
mi?
perfect.
Mükemmel değildi tabii.
Your father hit you and your sister at times, right?
Babanız size ve
Yes.
kardeşinize vurdu değil mi
And
diyor.
your sister would protect you from
Kardeşiniz
that abuse
sizi
when she could, wouldn't she?
korumaya çalışırdı sizi değil
We
mi?
would protect each other for
Birbirimizi
sure.
korumaya çalışırdık evet diyor.
And when you graduated from high school, you moved out to Los Angeles, right?
Liseden mezun olunca Los Angeles'a taşındınız değil mi diyor.
And your sister gave you a place to live in LA,
Kardeşiniz size yaşayacak yer verdi.
and she helped support you.
Size destek oldu.
In part, I also was
Biraz.
working myself, and
Tabii ben de çalışıyordum diyor.
And you're grateful to her for being there when you needed her.
Orada olduğunuzda minnettarsınız değil mi
And
diyor.
just like
Tabii ki
she
de.
protected and cared for you, you want to protect and care for her, right?
Onu koruma, siz onun sizi koruduğu gibi siz de onu korumak istiyorsunuz değil mi diyor.
yeah.
Burada kardeş
You
ilişkisini
testified to
şey
have a great
yapacak.
relationship with Mr. Depp when you first started dating your sister.
İlk önce Depp'le çok iyi bir ilişkiniz olduğunu
And
söylemiştiniz
you
doğru mu
thought of him
diyor.
as a brother.
Kardeşiniz olarak düşünüyordunuz değil mi?
He called you sis.
Yes.
O
You
size
had
kardeşiniz
affectionate
diyordu.
feelings for him too, didn't you?
Siz de
A
ona
number of them, yes.
tatlı nickname'leriniz var değil mi
And
diyor.
you testified that for a time you lived in the ECB penthouses with Mr.
Hop. Yayın donmadı. Adamların yayını dondu. What the fuck? Bu arada yayın donmadı. Bu değil. Bu.
You lived in the ECB penthouses with Mr. Depp and Ms. Heard.
That's correct.
And Mr. Depp owned those penthouses.
He did.
O
pay rent
penthouse
when you lived in there, right?
kira ödemeniz değil mi diyor.
You didn't pay for any of the bills for the penthouses.
Herhangi bir elektrik veya su faturası falan
And Rocky
ödemeniz değil mi
Pennington
diyor.
lived in one of those penthouses also, right?
Ruth Payne'ın da
And so
oradan birisi
her boyfriend
yaşıyordu.
Josh Drew moved in,
Aynı zamanda
right? Yes.
erkek arkadaşı
And
da
Isaac
yaşadı.
Bruch, lived in one of those penthouses
Isaac
too.
Bruch da onlardan birisinde yaşıyordu. 3 farklı
And you know that
evde
he
Amber'ın
testified
3
here
farklı
that he
arkadaşı
called the spirit
oturuyormuş.
animal, right?
I did not know that, but he's wonderful.
You call him your spirit animal?
At one point I did, yes.
Zaten 5
You
ev
took
var.
trips with your sister and Mr. Depp also,
Birisi
right?
zaten Amber Heard'ın
Occasionally.
kıyafetlerinin ve John Depp'in kıyafetlerinin bulunduğu yer. Diğer bunların yaşadığı yer. Diğer üçü de arkadaşların
During
yaşadığı
the
yer.
course of Mr. Depp and Ms. Heard's relationship, you were frequently involved in their arguments, weren't you?
Yes.
In fact, you had a nickname,
Kavgaların
right?
hepsinde şey vardı hani.
Marriage counselor.
Yes.
e,
You often
evlilik
found
desteği
yourself
veriyormuş
mediating
neredeyse bu
disputes
kavgalarda.
between Mr. Depp
Yani
and Ms. Heard,
aralarındaki
right?
kavgaları ayırmaya
Really not very
çalışmaya
well,
çalışıyordum.
yes.
Çok başarılı değildim ama evet yapmaya
When
çalışıyordum
you were
diyor.
in that role of marriage counselor, you empathized with Mr. Depp, right?
Bu rol sırasında
Yes, on
Johnny Depp
Because you
Johnny
had a
Depp'i
good
anlamaya çalışıyordun.
understanding of what he was going through.
Ne yaşadığını çok iyi anlayabiliyordunuz değil mi diyor.
Depended on the situation.
Durumdan duruma
Sometimes
göre
I could
değişiyor
totally
tabii.
see from his perspective.
Tabii
Other
bazen
times I
onun
thought
perspektifinden görüyordum. Bazen
You've been there
Amber
with
Heard'ın
Ms. Heard
perspektifinden
before, right?
görüyorsunuz.
We're sisters. Of course we've argued.
Daha önceden
And you
kavga
knew what it
ettiğiniz mi
was
tabii
like to
Amber
want
Heard'te.
to run away for days and do your own thing and not have Ms. Heard there fighting with you, right?
I think that's kind of taken out of context a little bit. I think more metaphorically. But yes, I have been in arguments with my sister.
Daha
And
önce
you
de
have wanted to
kavgalar
run
yaptım,
away
evet.
for days, right?
Günler boyunca
Sure.
kaçmak
And
istediğin
now having
zamanlar
her fighting
oldu.
with you.
Sure.
Ya onunla kavga etmediğim ve uzaklaşmak istediğin zamanlar, günler oldu değil mi diyor.
You talked a little bit about the incident in March 2013, right?
Mart 2013'teki bir
That was
olay
the
hakkında
one
konuşmuştum.
before you went to the Keith Richards
Yes.
documentary set?
Keith Richards
And you were
belgeseline
present with
gitmiş.
Mr. Depp at Orange that day?
I was.
Orange,
Did
Amber
you do
Heard'ın
cocaine
evindelermiş.
with Mr. Depp that afternoon?
Johnny Depp'le beraber kokain kullanmadınız mı o gün diyor.
And you said Mr. Depp's already intoxicated?
Depp çoktan
by the time I got there.
And he was fighting with your sister?
alkolikti ve kardeşiniz kavga etmiyor muydu diyor.
He wasn't doing much of anything. He was sat at the table.
Sadece bir şey
He
yapmıyordu,
was
şu anda masada
telling me
oturuyor
about the
sadece.
fight that they had.
Yaşadıkları
So you've
kavgayı
been
anlatıyordu.
fighting with your sister that day when you arrived.
That was my understanding.
Vardığınızda zaten kardeşiyle
Said she had
kavga
a puffy
etmişti.
face.
Ve suratının
Yes.
şişmiş olduğunu
And
düşünüyorsunuz.
despite all of that, you decided it was a good idea to do cocaine.
Ona
with Mr.
rağmen
Depp at that
Johnny Depp'le beraber
I hadn't
kokain yapmanın
yet connected the
mantıklı
dots. I hadn't yet
olduğunu
understood
düşündünüz
what
değil mi
that
diyor.
meant or what that would do.
Bağlantıyı kuramamıştım o
yes.
zaman diyor.
Yes, you took cocaine with Mr. Depp
I
after all
did.
that.
Yes, I already said that.
Şimdi direkt şey yapacaklar. Hani hiç mi bağlantıyı kurmadın, bu kadar mı
You
salaksın kurmaya
testified you had
çalışıyorlar.
suspicions that Mr. Depp was allegedly hitting your sister.
Mr. Depp'in, Johnny Depp'in vurduğunun şeylerini, şüpheleriniz olduğunu söylemiştik
And
2013
notwithstanding
noktasında
that,
değil
in
mi
June
diye.
2013, you were actually joking with Mr. Depp about hitting your sister. right?
Haziran 2013'te bir şaka yapmaya başladınız bu
Over
konularda.
text message, yes. You were encouraging me to hit her.
SMS'i falan.
I was not literally encouraging him.
Vurması hakkında onu gaza getirmediniz diyor. Hayır, öyle şey demiyorum ama şaka yapıyordum
Yes.
diyor.
Again, Lex, I did not have an understanding fully of what that was. I never would have said that now, knowing what I know.
But that was alleged. That was around the time that you allegedly became aware that he was. That
I don't
there were
know.
injuries on your sister that caused you to have suspicions.
I don't know if it was around the
Santa
same
Roll
time.
çok abone olmuş. Canımsın. En iyi abonem. Sana hoş geldin.
Turning to the staircase incident in March 2015,
Merdiven olayına gelelim.
you testified that Mr. Depp allegedly hit you during that incident,
Ve
right?
size vurduğunu söylemiştiniz o olayda.
But you weren't sure if that contact was even meant for you, right?
Size yumruğun size atılıp
I
atılmadığını
don't know what he
bilmiyorsunuz
was
ama
saying
değilim
when my
diyor.
back was to him.
And you weren't injured during that incident, right?
O
No,
şey zamanı hasar
You didn't
yemediniz
seek
değil mi
medical
diyor.
attention.
No.
Ve herhangi bir şekilde
And you
bir
said Debbie Lloyd was there
doktora
during all of
gitmediniz
that,
ve Debbie Lloyd
correct?
da
She was.
oradaydı
And
değil mi
Mr. Depp's
dediniz.
security, Travis McGivern, was there
Ve
too?
Travis de oradaydı. Birisi hemşiresi,
saw your
diğeri
sister hit Mr.
güvenliği.
Depp on the stairs
Aynı
that day,
zamanda kardeşinizin Johnny Depp'e de
After he
vurduğunu
struck me,
gördünüz
yes.
değil mi diyor. Alpay Çökç bu arada
she
ikinci yaşın
landed one,
canımsın. En iyi abonem, sana hoş geldin. Vurduğunu gördünüz.
And then the next day, you found some damage in the adjoining penthouse.
Bir sonraki gün
We saw some pictures of what
öbür
you saw
taraftaki
that day, right?
penthouse'da bir hasar gördünüz değil mi diyor.
You thought it was important
Magus
to
çok
document
şükür
that
8. yaşın
damage,
canımsın.
right?
En iyi abonem, sana hoş
Not to
geldin.
document.
Bunu
It
kaydetmenin
was
güzel bir şey
Kevin's
olduğunu
job
düşünüyorsun.
to kind of clean up the houses,
Kevin'in
take care of the
işiydi,
houses.
etraf temizlemek
I took
filan.
pictures just so he could be aware of what he would need to bring. I didn't know if he had tools here or whatever. I was
Ne
just preparing
getirmesi
him for what he was gonna
gerektiği
have to
için
fix.
fotoğrafları
But you didn't
attım.
take any pictures of your sister that day, right?
Ama kardeşin hiçbir fotoğrafını çekmediniz. Emir Şahşuk
After
yapıda abone olmuş.
March
Canımıza hoş geldin tekrardan.
2015, you continued to have a close relationship with Mr. Depp, right?
Mart 2015'ten
Yes.
sonra da ilişkiniz
And you still loved
yakındı
him,
Johnny Depp'le. Hala seviyordunuz
of
onu.
course. And you were there for him if he needed you, right?
Bir şey istese onunla beraberdiniz.
And in fact, just a couple of weeks after that staircase incident, you were still acting as the marriage counselor, weren't you?
Bu merdiven olayından sonra bile hala evlilik danışmanlığı yapıyordunuz teknik olarak değil mi diyor. Kim bu? Amber Heard'ın kardeşi,
That
konuşan da
fall,
Johnny Depp'in
after the
avukatı.
staircase incident, October 2015, you claim you had seen Mr. Depp hitting your sister, and then in October 2015, you were actually still trying to reconcile him and your sister when they were fighting, right?
Yes, I was asked to support. I was just trying to help what I thought they both wanted.
Eline sonuna yardım etmeye çalışıyordum. İkisi de destek istiyordu. Hani onları desteklemeye çalışıyordum. Yapabileceğim bir
You
şekilde
still
destek
loved
olmaya
Mr. Depp at
çalışıyordum.
that point, right?
O noktada Johnny Depp'i hala seviyordunuz değil mi diyor.
And you didn't think that he and your sister were past the point of no return, right?
O noktada
What I
hani
thought
geçilemez bir
was
noktayı,
irrelevant
geri
at that
dönemez bir
point.
noktayı geçtiğinizi
I
düşünüyor muydunuz
really
diyor. Benim de düşünmem önemli yok,
Those two were in
önemli
love,
değildi.
they were working
Onlar
very hard.
birbirine çok
They
aşıktı ve
wanted to be together. It
beraber
seemed
olmak
like,
istiyorlardı.
so
Çok çabalıyorlardı diyor.
I just helped as best as I could. I don't know how else to describe it.
Olabildiğince yardım etmeye
Your sister
çalıştım diyor.
still wanted to be with Mr. Depp, right?
Kardeşiniz hala Johnny Depp'le beraber de olmaya çalışıyordu değil mi? Olmak istiyordu değilim diyor.
And
Evet
you
onu
didn't think they
seviyor
were
diyor.
past the point of no return.
Geri dönülemez bir noktaya geçmemişlerdi diye
I don't know
düşünüyorsun.
what you mean by that exactly.
Okay. Let's take a look at Plaintiff's Exhibit 1283. It's not yet in evidence, so we'll just show that to the witness. I've got this, if I might approach, Your Honor, I have this in redacted and unredacted.
Okay, you want to come forward?
Gördük hepsini. Kemili ablam arkadaşlar beli tutulmuş. Şu anda o yüzden koltukta oturuyor. Bütün davayı tek başına sırtlamaktan dolayı beli tutulmuş. O yüzden kenarda. Tabi. Bitirdiler kadını yani.
Ms. Enriquez, if I could just direct your attention, we can go to the third page, please.
Yablak kişi çok 16. yaşın canımsın. En iyi
No, you
haber
do
sen
not.
hoş geldin.
We'll put it up for you. And we can go back to the first page if you'd like, or we can take a look at the unredacted version if we need to. But
Hangisi?
do you
SM7
recognize
be.
these as text messages that you sent to Mr. Depp on October 2nd, 2015?
Johnny Depp'le aranızdaki mesajlaşmalar değil mi bu? 2 Ekim
Yeah, vaguely.
2015.
I mean, they're clearly my text messages, but yeah, I recognize them, I think.
Bazen
And if you
hatırlıyorum
can go
demiş.
to the third page, please, Tom. And you'll see the second blue box from the bottom there. You texted Mr. Depp and you said, I love both of you so much and would fucking stay out of it if I thought this shit were past the point of no return. But that's not where you guys are right now. Did I read that right?
Oh, but that's not where you guys are at. Yes.
So you didn't think they were past the point of no return in October 2015, right?
Ekim 2015'te geri
that
dönemez bir
point
noktada
earlier
olduğunu
didn't-
düşünmüyorsunuz. Düşünmemişsiniz değil mi? Hani ilişkinin bittiğini düşünmemiş.
Oh,
Geri dönülemez bir noktaya varmadığını söylemiş. Geri düze toparladı mı ya? Diğer.
You wanted
değil.
Miss Heard to stay with Mr. Depp even after you allegedly saw him hit her, right?
Bu da değil.
that's
Neydi?
really oversimplifying something that's far from simple.
You didn't want to contradict your sister, right?
Toparlamış.
Pardon?
You didn't want
Kardeş-
to contradict your sister.
Kardeşinizi çelişmek istemediniz değil mi diyor.
I don't know if I'd characterize it that. I don't know if I'd characterize it that way. Again, I was trying to support my sister the best that I
Kardeşimi herhangi bir
could
şekilde
or knew
desteklemeye
how
çalışıyordum
or thought
diyor.
she wanted.
And you say you wanted to protect her though, right?
Ama hani onu korumak istiyorsun
At that
kardeşini.
point, I don't know if I would categorize it as that. I was just trying to support my sister.
You went to Coachella with your sister for her 30th birthday in
Kardeşinize
2016,
Coachella'ya
right?
gittiniz
Yes.
değil mi? 2016'da
And you
diyor.
testified that you were aware, I believe that she and Mr. Depp had fought the night before.
Bir önceki gün kavga ettiğini biliyorsun,
Turn your microphone on
biliyordunuz
this
değil
part
mi
off.
diyor.
Never mind, I withdraw that objection.
Okay, withdrawn. All right. You can answer the question, ma'am.
Yes, I was aware that they had argued the night before.
Evet daha önceki gece
You
kavga
didn't see
ettiklerini
any
biliyorsun.
bruises on Miss Heard at Coachella that year though, right?
Yeah, she was wearing a lot of makeup
You didn't
Bir,
see any marks on her?
bir izimiz görmediniz değil mi diyor.
that I can recall.
Hayır
Didn't
görmedim
notice any
diyor.
swelling, right?
Şişliklik gördünüz mü? Hayır görmedim diyor.
To the best of my recollection,
Hatırladığım kadarıyla
I
hayır
don't.
görmedim diyor. Radio Rüzçük burada
And your
6.
sister
yaşın
didn't have a
canımsın.
working
En iyi
phone
haber
on
sen
her
hoş
that day,
geldin.
did she?
Kardeşinin
No, she
telefonu
didn't.
yoktu değil mi?
But you
diyor.
did.
Ama sizin var
Yes, I
değil
did.
mi?
And you wanted Mr. Depp to know that Miss Heard's phone wasn't working, right?
believe I reached out to
Kardeşinizin
him for
telefonunun
her, yeah.
çalışmadığını söylediniz.
And
John
you were
Depp'e değil
encouraging
diyor.
him to reach out to her through you if he was trying to reach her, right?
Herhangi bir şekilde
I believe so,
Amber
at one
Heard'a
point,
ulaşmak
yes.
istiyorsa kendisine ulaşmasını
You didn't want him to think that he was
söylemiştiniz.
ignoring her.
I'm sorry?
You didn't want him to think that he was ignoring her, right?
Sure.
And you wanted them to reconcile, didn't you?
Konuşmasını, birbirinin
Amber
konuşmasını
really wanted
istemiştiniz.
him there.
Amber
Despite
cidden
the fact that they
orada
had had a fight the night before.
Kavga yapsalar bile Amber
It was
onu orada
very
cidden
complicated. It
istiyordu.
was very nuanced. You know, they fought, they got back together. They fought, they loved
Kavga
each
edip-
other. They hate each other. They loved
Kavga
each
edip
other.
tekrar birbirine nefret ediyorlar, aşık
I just
oluyorlar, bilmem ne
remember her
yapıyorlar.
wanting Johnny to come to Coachella at some point.
Sadece Johnny'nin Coachella'ya
I
gelmesini
wasn't trying
istediğini
to
hatırlıyorum diyor.
reconcile them. I was just trying to
Onların ilişkiyi toparlamaya çalışmıyorum.
Help facilitate.
Onları orta noktada buluşturmaya çalışıyordum. Onların onların
And you did
istediği
that
şeyleri
even
yapmaya çalışıyordum
though
diyor.
you were concerned about marks that you say you'd seen on her since at least 2013. during the
2013'ten
course of their
beri
relationship, right?
2013'ten
Again, that's
2013'ten
really oversimplifying something. We all saw this.
2013'ten beri gördüğünüz izlere rağmen
We
bunu
all
yapmaya
thought that
devam
Johnny, we
ediyordunuz
would see
değil
Johnny
mi
on the other
diyor.
end of this. Because again, when he was sober, things were wonderful. When they weren't, when he wasn't sober, they were terrible, sure, but we all thought that he was just going to get better. We all wanted to just see the other side of that. So yes, sure, if you look at it simply, but it's not simple at all. I
Çok basit
don't know how else to
baktığınızda böyle
answer it.
ama o kadar
And this
basit
was after
değildi
you
diyor bu.
allegedly saw him hit her, right?
Ona
Yes.
vurduğunu gördükten sonraki bir
And
olay değil mi
you
diyor
knew that
bu.
they had just had another fight, right?
Başka bir kavga ettiklerini de biliyorsunuz
Yes.
değil mi? Burada şeyi kanıtlamaya çalışıyor. Madem bu kadar şiddet
You know who
gördüğünü
Jennifer Howell is,
düşünüyorsunuz
right?
veya
Ms. Enriquez?
şey yapıyorsunuz,
The founder
niye
of
hala
the
şey yapmaya
Art of Elysium
çalışıyorsunuz?
nonprofit.
She is.
Jennifer Howell kim o biliyor musunuz?
And you
Art of
worked there
Elysium
for a
diye
time,
birisinin
didn't you?
sahibiymiş. Orada çalıştınız değil mi diyor.
Around May 2015, you actually
Mayıs
moved in with Ms.
2015'te
Howell, right?
Miss Howell'la beraber
May
yaşadınız.
2015? Yes.
And you moved out of the penthouses because at that point you and your sister were fighting, right?
Kardeşinizle kavga
It
ettiğiniz için ayrıldınız değil mi
yeah,
diyor.
it was around the time that, he had accused me of leaking stories, and that was the impetus of me leaving.
And you testified earlier, I think, that he had asked you to sign an NDA, right?
At some point.
Bir
And
gizli
that was around
sözleşme
the same time
imzalamak
that he was concerned you were
imzaladınız.
leaking stories about their wedding to the media.
Evlilik
Lisa.
hikayesini sızdırdığınız için medya sızdırdığınızı
you and Miss
suçlattı
Howell were
sizi
close.
Johnny Depp o sırada
We
değil mi
were.
diyor. Howell'la yakındınız
Close
değil
enough that
mi?
you lived with her for around a year.
Bir yıl boyunca Howell'la beraber
I
yaşadınız. O
don't
kadar yakın
recall if it
mıydı?
was that long.
O kadar uzun olduğunu hatırlamıyorum diyor.
You confided in Miss Howell, right?
Onunla konuştunuz bol
She
bol
was my
değil mi
friend.
diyor.
Called her
Arkadaşım
your
diyor.
chosen sister.
Seçtiğim kardeşim demediniz mi ona? Evet dedim diyor.
Ms. Enriquez, you claim to have seen signs of injuries on your sister during the course of her relationship with Mr. Depp, right?
Johnny Depp'le
Yes.
Kardeşinizle bol
But you
bol
never witnessed
hasar
any
gördünüz değil mi
incidents
diyor.
that resulted in visible injuries to your sister, right?
Ama hiçbir zaman hasar
Other than
bırakan
the staircase incident? I witnessed that incident. What are you asking me exactly?
You never witnessed any incidents that resulted in signs of injury that you were
bir
concerned
hasar
about over the course
bırakan
of their relationship.
hasar bırakan bir şey
Other than
gördünüz
the
mü diyor.
staircase incident, I did witness that.
No, at no other time when you.
No, that was the only time that I saw.
Merdiven olayı dışında hiçbir zaman
And you
fiziksel
didn't
olarak
see what
görmedim
caused
diyor.
any of the injuries you claim to have seen during the
Bu
course of
hasarları
the
herhangi bir
relationship,
şekilde
right?
bırakan
Other than
şeyi
the staircase
görmediniz.
incident.
Merdiven olayı
staircase
dışında hiçbirini
incident is the only
görmediniz
one
diyor.
that I saw.
Sadece
But you have
merdivenimi
seen your sister
gördüm.
land a blow on Mr. Depp, right?
Ama
That
Johnny
was the
Depp,
time.
ama
Yes,
kardeşinizin
after he
Johnny
hit me.
Depp'i yumrukladığını da gördünüz değil mi diyor.
No
Burada
further
şurada
questions, Your Honor.
All right.
burada da şeyin götünü kurtardı abi.
All right. Is this witness subject to recall?
No, she may be.
Is subject to recall? No. Okay. All right, ma'am, you are free to go, or you can stay in the courtroom. It's up to you. Okay. Thank you.
Burada da şöyle şunu belirtmeye çalıştı.
Next witness, Your Honor, is another deposition designation.
Okay.
It's going to be.
Ay yine video.
This particular one is about 45 minutes.
45 dakikalık video.
All right, well,
Dur
go
bakalım
ahead.
kimmiş merak
Why don't we
ettim.
go ahead and take our afternoon recess, though?
Öğle arası.
That way we can get everything ready for you. So we'll just take our 15-minute break now.
15 dakika ara. Tam 15 dakikadan bir şey olmaz. İzleriz.
So, we'll see you in 15 minutes. Don't do any outside research. Don't talk to anyone.
Bu arada şunu yapmaya çalışıyordu Johnny Depp'in avukatı. Hiçbir noktada bu hasarların hasar olduğunu söylediğin şeyin Johnny Depp'in yaptığını görmediniz değil mi dedi. Bir o merdiven olayını gördüm dedi. Ama onun dışında evet görmedim dedi. Ondan sonra da Johnny Depp'in avukatı şunu dedi.
So that's 45 minutes, and what do you have another,
Yes, then we have another one.
it's another
We have
a deposition?
We have a few more.
Okay, so they're both depositions.
Yeah, all the rest of them today are depositions.
Okay, I just want to make sure.
Bundan sonra her şey ifadeymiş, videoymuş.
Items from that. Okay, that's fine. We'll come back at 3:05 then? Okay, all right, thank you.
Tamam. 10 dakika sonra gelecek bu arada. Ya şöyleymiş bu arada. Ondan sonra da şey dedi işte merdiven olayını gördüm sadece dedi. Merdiven olayında hasar gördüğünü ve o olayın hasar yarattığını gördüm dedi. Johnny Depp'in avukatı da şöyle götünü kurtardı orada Johnny Depp'in. Ama orada Amber Heard ilk yumruğu atmıştı. Amber Heard yumruk atmıştı değil mi dedi. O da evet dedi. Yani bir yerde görmüş ama o yerde de Amber Heard ilk yumruğu attığı için veya yumruk attığı için yani bayağı bildiğin karşılıklı olmuş oluyor teknik olarak. Elizabeth Mars'mış bu arada. Videolara geçtik hadi bakalım. Video da çöp kalitesinde.
please state your full name for the record?
İsminizi söyleyin.
Elizabeth Ray Mars.
Between the time that you lived in New York, so let's say 2007, 2008 through 2015, 16. How
O
many times
videolar geldi,
would you
benim bütün
estimate
hevesim
you saw
geçti.
this hurt?
Hayır bir de
Remember.
3 şey videoymuş. Bugün 3 arka arkaya 3 tane video varmış.
No.
In 2015 and
Videoları
16,
izlemeyeceğim
do you recall
ya.
how close
Videolar
you
bayıyor
and
abi.
Miss
No.
Pennington were as friends?
Ha, videolar no.
Yeah, we were pretty close.
Videolar çok bayık yani.
Pretty close.
In your previous testimony, I'll represent to you, Ms. Mars, that you testified
Üç video
that
arka arkaya
at least in
cidden.
July of 2016, you would communicate with Ms. Penny.
Mükemmel öğren oldum.
Volkege ustam.
Ya
Video yayınladılar abi. Video yayınladılar. Video yayınladı baydım.
hadi bakalım.
Evet.